Why is Donald Trump wanting to work with Africans? Why is Donald J. Trump seem to be more interested in African leaders? Because we all know that in his first term or in his first mandate, Donald Trump seemed to be having a serious problem with Africans. We all saw how he disrespected Africans by calling them names. And during this first mandate, Donald Trump never wanted to come even this close to Africans. He never even visit Africa. He never even tried to show interest to comment on Africa politics. But what make it different this time that Donald J. Trump will have now to start showing his interest in Africa continent? Because that's actually, it is a very capital question which each and every Pan-Africans should try to pay attention to it, because something is up to happen. And it is not for nothing to see someone such as a Donald Trump coming forward and saying that I need Africa by my side, I want to work with Africa. These are the words which Donald Trump never used before when it comes to Africa affairs. Donald Trump, he had shown us the kind of attitude of wanting to take things or to look at the map of Africa from far and not that close. So all of a sudden, Donald Trump, he wants now to work with Africa. He wants to be friends with African leaders. What could be his motivation behind all this? What could be his main reasons that is motivating him so that he can find that interesting in order for him to work with Africans now? Well, we have tried to look back at what had happened between the relationship which the former president, who is now the current president, of course, until next year, January, of the United States of America, Donald Trump, the kind of relationship he used to have with Africans. And we look how the world or how things were happening in the world during that time. And we now look at 4 years later that he decided to go back in the White House. How did the American politics have worked? And how's the things looking for Americans? How's the future of America look without Africa? Because as we all know that before Donald Trump left the office, before Joe Biden became the president of the US, this world was at peace, not 100% peace, but compared to this world that we're having today, there were no war in Ukraine and conflict between Russia and NATO. There were no war in the Middle East, where we see Israel with Palestine, now in Lebanon, where we see Iran on the other side. There were not those kind of conflict. But in the absence of Donald Trump, this war or this conflict took place in his absence. Now, Donald Trump on his side, in order for him to be re-elected again as the president of America, he had to come up with a strong campaign, he had to come up actually with something more stronger, which can convince the Americans for them to vote him. He had to come up with something unique, which the Democrats, they were not able to do, or they were not able to provide for Americans so that he can win their trust. And one of these things, besides him coming up with the matters of talking about illegal immigrants who are over there in the USA, Donald Trump has to come with something different this time. Him coming to finish up the war which has been going on in Ukraine. He guarantee people of the world, he guarantee Americans that he's going to finish this war, because according to him, he strongly believes that this war is not benefiting Americans at all. You guys, you saw some of the video which we play for him, whereby Donald Trump is explaining on how this war has been causing Americans deeply. He gave some of the examples on how Zelensky, who's the current president of the Ukraine, he will travel over there to the USA. They will give him more than 60 billion US dollar. You will collect this money, and once he reaches in Ukraine, the next morning he's gonna come back with some complaining, saying that no, this money is not providing us with enough fighting machines, so we still need more money. So America keep on spending money, yet they're not benefiting enough, which is actually different when America puts conflict in Africa countries. For an example, when they came and fight Muammar Gaddafi in 2011, just because Libya is found among African borders, and Libya, they have a lot of mineral resource. Of course, every time when they were fighting Muammar Gaddafi, America, France, and their allies, they were benefiting in one way or other way. So every time these so-called rebellions who were busy attacking Muammar Gaddafi, taking over some cities, they were actually benefiting some mineral resource, because they will have to, once they take a territories, they'll have to take this mineral resource and they'll have to sell it to their partners who's been supporting them in all this conflict. Now, that was a different case with the Ukraine, because with the Ukraine now, remember, they don't have any mineral resource. They don't have anything special like the one that Africa countries usually have, whereby if America, they have to sponsor them, at the same time they'll be benefiting. No. So the whole deal here was that America, they want to support Ukraine because they did not want Russia to go ahead and impose their leadership over in Europe. So, and at the same time, America, since it's number one of NATO nations, they came up together with an idea to see on how they can isolate Russia from the world's politics. They came up with this idea to see on how they can destroy Russia, right? And in order for them to succeed with that, they have to use Ukraine as their battleground so that they can be able to defeat Russia. But now they've been doing all these things, yet they're not benefiting enough. Russia is not giving up, and they are not winning Russia. They are not even able to extend their NATO military base as they were planning for all these years. So Trump have understood that, like, no, we can't continue this way, because at the same time, it seems like we are forgetting that Russia is a nuclear country. And the fact that we keep on pushing them, the fact that we keep on fighting them, at the end of the day, once they run out of their fighting machines, they'll have to use whatsoever they have left with. And if they have to use whatsoever they have left with, obviously they want to use nothing else if it's not the nuclear bomb. And that was the risk which Donald Trump did not want. And at the same time, you saw Donald Trump giving up reasons or some explanations on how independent Russia it had become, all because of the kind of sanctions which the Joe Biden administrations they have given to Russia. So these sanctions, whether it is USA, whether it's the one from the UN, whether it's the one from G7, G20, all these world platforms as we know them, they were hoping that these sanctions, they will actually work against Russia. They were hoping that these sanctions will destroy Russia's economy. They were hoping that these sanctions will make Russia bow. But unfortunately for them, these sanctions, it did not work properly for them. Why? Because Russia managed to survive these sanctions, and they end up exposing the mafia of the Western, so that each and every country out there, each and every leader around the world, they are now aware of what could be the strategy of the Western, that these people, the only things they have as their strong weapon to use against other nations is their sanctions. Once you survive, their sanctions, then you'll become even more independent. They put more than 500 sanctions on Russia. We are talking about big sanctions. And these sanctions, guys, it is something that can affect the economy of each and every country in the world. But Russia managed to survive all this. Russia, they become independent. They are no longer depending on the US dollar. They are no longer depending on what US have to say or to influence on them. They are no longer doing nothing. Actually, they are more focused on their allies within the BRICS summit, BRICS countries. And this made them become even more powerful. So the same strategy which the USA politics, they were planning to destroy Russia, they end up failing. Now they feel like, no, if things continue this way, we're not going to survive. Because Russia now, it not only have funds or countries which likes them out there, they are now even in control of some of Africans' mineral resources, whereby some of African leaders, they are giving them that easy access in order for them to work with them together, in order for them to collaborate with them, to do business with them, because Africans, they are also tired. African leaders, they are tired to be called puppets to the US politicians. So now they are kind of like going out there looking for someone new, someone that they wish to work with. And here comes Russia, who's showing up that mutual respect which African leader needs. And that gives them now a easy access for them to put hands on African minerals. Now, Donald Trump, he had promised to finish the war in Ukraine. Now, he can't finish this war in Ukraine when he's still not being in a good relationship with Africans. You understand? Donald Trump, he won't be able to succeed in whatsoever he had promised people of the America through his campaign without having Africans on his side. Remember, some of the people who hate Donald Trump or who used to hate him, it was all because of the kind of behavior that he used to have against Africans, the way he treated Africans. Not only those black Africans who are found themselves within the US borders, but even those who are in Africa continent. Because once you treat one color differently, obviously you can't expect that color or that humanity to just behave against you like there's nothing wrong. Because once you insult this person, another person will get hurt. And that's what happened. So now Donald Trump have understand that Africa, with Africans, they have turned their backs against the USA. Now, what is the easy way for him to be able to win them back? Is by trying to stop Africans to not trade with Russia. And this time Donald Trump comes, he promised to behave in a very different way than the Donald Trump that we saw 4 years ago. Donald Trump says that he's going to put a lot of effort in order for him to work with Africans so that he can avoid the mistake of the past. Why is he saying all that? Because he ended up realizing that whatsoever they are fighting for out there, no one will become powerful than other nation without Africa by their side. Because whatsoever they need, it all located inside Africa continent. Whether it is something they have to invade, whether it is fighting weapons, whatsoever it needs, they know very well that it is only in Africa they will get it. Now, he's coming forward now. He's calling for African leaders, and he's even planning to have a US-Africa summit, which he wants to welcome African leaders so that he can sit down with them, and is kind of like promising that he's going to treat them differently than the way their fellow black President Barack Obama did back then. So in other words, he's trying to tell people that he's going to have a head-to-head conversation with each and every African leader. See how these people, they think that they can just continue to manipulate Africans, all because of the mineral resource which we are having in Africa continent. Now, should Africans with African leader have to accept this proposal from Donald Trump or not? Well, before I continue, guys, do me a favor as you are watching this video. Like this video in your numbers. We really do appreciate. Give us your thumbs up so that we can continue with what we are talking about. And also feel free to share also your opinion in the comment section. Tell us also what do you think about these things of Trump wanting to be more close to Africans than he used to be before. So now, as I was asking earlier, should Africans accept this proposal of Donald Trump wanting to work with them, yes or no? Well, according to me, this is my point of view. You are free to also give yours through the comment section. But according to me, I don't think it is a good idea. Yes, I don't think it is a good idea. Why? Because I always tell you every time that Africa, it is like that beautiful young lady, a lady who never been married, who never been pregnant or give birth, who never do abortion or anything like that. Actually, a virgin young lady. Such kind of woman, she's full of future. A future is bright. And every man will come in the neighborhood. They would love to have this kind of beautiful young lady, isn't it? Why? Because they know that this is a potential wife to be. Someone that I can start a life with. Someone that I can grow up with. And not like these boss slave queens who have done life around. That is how me, personally, I see Africa. USA has been in Africa for centuries. Europe, they've been in Africa for centuries. They are the one who destroy Africa. They are the one who looted African minerals. They are the one who committed the worst crime in Africa continent. They are the one who hold the economy of Africa. Whenever the economy of Africa try to stand up, they are the first one who are jumping forward in order for them to stop Africans from not developing with their economies. The true economic freedom of Africans, the true enemy to this economic freedom of Africans are the Western. There's no lie about that. And the proof to that, in one of our previous video, I said to you, I give to you actually an example saying that to show you that they are even holding our own development. You will see that they have managed to do all the necessary things in their countries. They built the highest long buildings. They did this, they did that. But when it's about time for Africans to start also building their countries and developing their countries, well, they are the first one who jump in the front line to come and tell us that no, we're having problem of climate change. This climate change, which does not benefit Africans. This climate change, which has nothing to do with Africans, because after all, Africans, they never invent or create this climate change. So they are saying this and they giving new laws. In Africa, you can't build a building which is more than 12 levels. Why? Because they don't want you guys to be having the same building as the one they're having over there. They don't want you guys to be having the same manufacturing that is the one they're having over there. They don't want anything good to happen for Africans. Now, here comes a man who have first disrespect, yes, he did disrespect Africans by calling them names, comparing them to some, I don't want to use the words here. Today, just because he ended up realizing how important or the key role is Africa playing in this world conflict with their mineral resource, today is now coming here and telling Africans that no, he want to work with them. See the kind of people that we're having in this world. So personally, I don't think it's a good idea, because bringing the USA closer or bringing the USA back again in Africa is not going to help us, because we already start going forward, and They just have to feel that they are not the only one in the world that Africa can be friends with. We have countries such as Venezuela, beside Russia, we have Cuba, so on and so on. There are so many countries who still have at least that respect for Africans. So this call of Donald Trump trying to work with Africa, for me, I don't think it's a good idea. I don't know what to think about it, but anyway, feel free to tell us also your opinions in the comment section. We'll have a look on that. So guys, I believe that will be all for now. See you again very soon in our next video for another topic that we have prepared for you. For now, continue to be yourself, be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. Ciao, ciao.